Hello, everyone. Here, Ulysses Lavaroni for Cyclical Dreams. Today, we are with Volker Rapp, musicians from Germany, and it's a pleasure to be with you, Volker. How you doing?
Fine, fine. And you?
Yeah, very well. Very
Okay.
happy to have you in our label, and well, we want to make a short interview about
Hmm?
two main things. The first one is how do you approach to music and then electronic music, or it was the first love electronic music, how it was?
Oh, that's very easy. When I was 9 years old, my parents gave me a accordion, and I had for 4 years lessons on this. And I hate this instrument, I have to say. And but for 50 years now, I'm going to 59 years old. For 50 years, I had my first stage experience playing jingle bells in school in a Christmas celebration. That was starting with music, and accordion is pop music or traditionals and so on. And but I dislike this music and the sound of the accordion. And there was an opportunity when you are do your exercises, have discipline to work every day an hour on this instrument. You will get an electric organ. Oh, I never got an electric organ, and after 4 years, I was 13 years old. I decided to make approaches in. Today, I know it is music concrete, and I found a lot of things in the kitchen, and I found keys, and I make noises. And my father had an old tape recorder with these great tapes, and I recorded all the noises forward, backward, half speed, and all the things what you know in concrete music. And this I built out to in with 16 with a mandolin of my father. I found it in the cellar, but my mother hated the mandolin, and so she decided that I got a classic guitar. And again, I played classic guitar, and here in the background you see a bass and a guitar, and on top there's a camper and processor for string instruments. I started with 16 to play classic guitar also for 4 years, more with more interest, and I think I was not so bad at it. I could read middle heavy etudes by sheet, and then I bought an electric guitar and tingled through some rock bands in the early 20s. And then came out the guitar solo from Van Halen for Beat It. And everybody has to play Beat It, no? Very, very fast. But the origin is a tape recording of two recordings. And Van Halen had to play it after this, for, had to learn it, and that is the irony of this guitar solo. But I was out. I had my favorite with Mike Oldfield, and there were some bands who goes in this instrumental genre, but with upcoming of the disco music, the electronic music in the early 80s, it was not my cup of tea. And then I bought my first synthesizer in 1986, and it was the DX7 from Yamaha, and I was a king. Yes, I was a king in every group because at that time this instrument was very expensive, and so it started with electronic instruments, but not with electronic music. And I was in several rock bands, in Latin bands, in jazz, in fusion, and so on, and made my engagement for until 1992. And in the meantime, I built up a recording um, equipment with a bigger tape recorder and an MC recorder, and made my um, double recordings via a mixer and this dubbing over tracks. And I started again with noises, and then I came back with the electric guitar and built up something I would call it. It was electronic music, and it was influenced by Kraftwerk, Jar, and Vangelis. And in the late 80s, there was a sampler by Roland, the S550, and there was a software, a sequencer software, and you had an amber-colored monitor, and then you can, in the sampler with the 1.5 megabyte memory, which means 1 minute samples. You can program music, and via MIDI you have the possibility to have other instruments in line. And with this concept, I started in '92 with concerts in galleries, and have some people with me who made performances. And 2 years later, I made my first CD, which was more melodic, more rhythmic, and to hope that it will be a million seller. And I had the chance to get in touch with WDR, that German broadcasting. And there was a special broadcasting series over 11 years. And it ended up in 1995. It's called Schwingungen with Winfried Tränkler. And in the last half year, I had the chance to present my first CD on broadcasting. And I made my connections in this scene, which is now mainly in the Netherlands with Ron Boots and other people. We had an idea to say Winfried Tränkler a big thank you. And I organized a concert in a castle. And he was a narrator of the history of this castle. And it has a huge hall, up to 200 people could be there. And between the windows, there is the history of the castle with battles and relationships and murdering and such things. And this picture, Ron Boots and I, we made music for. And with the advertising over the WDR, we had 2 sold out concerts. But then the broadcasting was deleted. And I had at that evening when I was on stage, I had I had a letter from Wuppertal, from the facilities of the town. And they in Wuppertal, there is the mono railway with the wheels on the roof, the Schwebebahn. And I had a commitment that I can use this wagon, one wagon, and for a concert. It means that it's not one concert, it was in total 6 concerts, 6 rounds through the town. And every round was sold out. But this means that was only 40 people in this wagon. It's a traffic vehicle, and but it was very, very special.
Amazing.
And the next thing what I'm taking was the Trans Europe Express, There was a 100 years anniversary party of the highest railway bridge in Germany, which is located here nearby. Wuppertal is one of the industrial sites, and Solingen known for knives and spoons and so on. And the other site is Remscheid, which was the cradle for Wilhelm Röntgen with the X-rays. And they had this bridge, and this bridge is over 100-meter high, and we drove with the Trans-Europe Express, which is used by Kraftwerk. And by preparing this concert, I get in touch with two people of Kraftwerk, and I'm still in touch with them. But yes. One man had is Florian Schneider, who died 2 years before, 3 years in the meanwhile, and the last thing what I organized for my own, and I have to pay all the rent. It's for my own risk. Was a concert according to the Total Eclipse 1999 in Europe. And what I'm very surprised about, everybody is talking about cosmic music or interstellar music or everything, but there was no musician in this hour when the shadow runs over the surface. There was no electronic musician in Europe to play a concert to the eclipse, and but I'm not the only one. I had a chance to get again a castle, and this castle was over the Rhine Valley, and in the Rhine Valley there is Karlsruhe for location, and in Karlsruhe there plays Oskar Sala. Yes, the man with the birds. And we never met, but we both were the only one who did cosmic music to the cosmic event, and yeah. And you see, I try to bring my music to special audience and to special locations. And I got two musicians relating to a society I founded in 1998. Which is called Schallwende, which is still today busy in electronic music to bring people together and to organize concerts. That is a phenomenon in North Rhine-Westphalia. It's limited to the broadcasting area, and this is to keep the air of the hair of this broadcasting keep alive, and the CEO of this society gives me two musicians, and we started real musicians. They study music. We started a concert in the biggest gasometer in Oberhausen, and that is a huge tower with 120 meters high and nearly 70 meters in diameter, and you got an echo of 14 seconds. So you have to wait for the next sound, or you double it. You build up a sound wall. And we had the chance to get this gasometer in there's a night shift, an evening, which is about 8 hours. And there are more than one gasometer in this region of the Ruhrgebiet. There are several things like coal mines and all what it has to do with this early industrial. And it was amazing because we got about 2,500 people in this 8 hours. And it was not as predicted. They listen to you 5 minutes, and then they go to the roof to see the surroundings, and then they drive to the next location. No, they sit down and listen to complete 45 minutes. That was a big success, and we get in touch with EMI, EMI Electrola, and they had the proposal to us as a trio to play as a pre-group, as a supporting group by Peter Maffay. I don't think that you know who Peter Maffay is. And he had a special program, not with this normal music, but with this tabaluga, this fairy tale of a little dragon, and that we could support them. But my two persons, this was saxophone and steel drum, and me as synthesizer, so 3 S's. They quit the scene and said, no, that's too big for us. So, but they stood in front of 5,000, 6,000 people. That was their job, to study music, and there was also sometimes in the music industry. But why they refused them, I don't know. It was like a dream who go away like a balloon. And my the next step was 2 extra shifts in the Ruhrgebiet, in a coal mine and in a railway museum. And at last we was together in a cooling tower of a nuclear power station. But this power station was never used for produce electricity. Today it's a fun bath. It's a great swimming pool in it, and I made then my music for. It's difficult to explain. There are I visit a lot of countries. At that time, I started traveling around 1990 and visited 30 countries, and I collected pictures and stories and bring them to the audience, reporting what you can see and what you can visit, and some stories and so on. And you see the pictures, and there is the music and by me. And I got Nepal, Tibet was one of the first programs. I worked together with a Tibet exhibition in the Ruhrgebiet. They made this exhibition, and they put their guests to me in a cinema, and also in a museum about Turkmenistan. It's close to Iran. And it was also reporting about Japan. And now we are in the 2010s, and I founded an art group, and with this experience to organize concerts, we go to several museums, to several galleries, and so on, and ask, you need us, really? And we make their performances. And there was less music, more than what you need in art. It's music concrete again. And we come to the biggest exhibition of contemporary art, the Documenta in Kassel. And then the door opens, and we come here in Düsseldorf. There was also a half-year event over the complete town, and we met there people who explain the exhibition within videos. Strange approach. And the director says, okay, I need your music. And so I came to scoring videos, and yes, that is that's still what I'm doing on YouTube. And the last thing what I'm trying is during my holidays, when you sit in a hotel in a room, and it was in St. Petersburg, and my Russian is not so good that I understand what they are talking about. Um, I took my laptop and started here with the QWERTY and made music on that. And this is the approach what I'm doing today. A lot of these things started with the S and D and F, and the other things you can see here. That is what is the remaining part. The other things I sold because it's too big, too much space, too less possibilities. It's amazing what we can do with this devising, but when you have all in the computer, it's a joke. and at least it's only the computer you need it anyway. And I think I make now a green electronic music because there's no electricity high consumption, because it is only this keyboards and yeah, and this. Here's a Korg Kronos, and this is Native Instruments. You probably
Well,
recognize it. Yeah, yeah, that's all. That's it. And the computers behind are free apples.
great. So you have a lot of experience about performances, and
Sure.
it's evident that it's your interest to keep to bring your music to different approaches and places, which is very
Yeah.
interesting because it's a complete interesting experience when go into different places and different situations, different sound
Yes.
systems, and
Yeah.
different kind of resonances of each place. They are not theaters or stadiums or
Yeah.
places that is
Yeah.
supposed
Yeah.
to have any structures about music. But when you have to adapt the music to a specific river places or a wagon or something like that, you have
Mhm.
to change your mind and probably to adapt the mixing stuff uh, to to match what is happening on the reel. So it's very interesting. And well, excellent. And we are very curious about the album that you are going to release on the Cyclical Dreams label. You
Yes.
know,
Mm.
we are here in Argentina and making this strange approach to publish this kind of music here and
Mhm.
everywhere, and it's very exciting for us. I'm a kind of fourth part of the team, but I'm not. I mean, I'm a musician that I publish also on Cyclical
Mm.
Dreams, but I collaborate too with some aspects of the label because it's an excellent idea that is growing day by day. So we have the honor to have your work, and we are very curious about why and how it was this work that you are going to release. What's the story behind?
The story behind it's nearly 23 years. Story is with the Society of Schallwände, we had the chance to bring Klaus Schulze on stage, but Klaus refused to play for this little society. We had the money, we had the spaces, we had everything, but Klaus was not interested. And but the CEO of this society, Sylvia Sommerfeld, um, probably you heard her name, um, has because it was a friendship with Klaus Schulze, and when he was in Germany with a concert on stage, I drove Sylvia to this concert, to this venue, and she met him. I was not really interested in Klaus because um, I'm listening to his music only when he was on stage, but not. I have no CD, no LP. that was not my style. You know, Vangelis and Kraftwerk are not so based in this Berlin school and like Tangerine Dream. That is okay. That is the music, and my favorites are another one. I came from the classic with the classic guitar, and and we got an invitation in 2000. I read it. Royal Festival Hall in London, and it was the occasion of Gin Rosé, and Klaus and Manuel Götsching were on stage. And after the show, we go to the backstage and sit with Manuel and Klaus in this little room, and it was a nice hour. Again, I met Klaus 6 or 7 years before, and Manuel the first time, and he was a smart guy, really, and he could play guitar as well. It's marvelous what he did, and but also I was not familiar with his music and discovered this music 10 years later. And then I know that is the E2 for E4 and Ashra Temple and so on. And I stay in contact with Manuel because I wanted him on my stage when it was possible. We had some telephone calls and some emails, and always I'm looking for when he performed E2 E4 on stage. I will want to have a permission, and it was in the last summer there was a concert announced in Cologne in the Philharmonie, but it was cancelled because of illness of Manuel. And yes, it was not the electronic year last year, and we got over Facebook in touch because of the death of Klaus Schulze, and there was an idea how to continue the E2 E4 with a next album, and Manuel, that is a part, a work. It is nearly 40 years old. It's said and done, and it's a closed shop. And there was, but I still keep the idea, and I was shocked when this illness of this concert came to a final end, and then I decided, okay, then I make an homage to Manuel with this with the answer of the black chess figures, and you have to say, okay, that is the opening with the king, and the other thing were E7 E5. That was very easy, but you know, Alan Parsons had also an album that's the Sicilian Defense, and it was never published, but they made it to fulfill their contract. But the record company says, well, that is no music. And so the idea to give chess movements as a title is not very new, but I decided to make the Scandinavian defense. And so now you know why this album is so cold. What is the Scandinavian defense? Yes, in the music. I don't know. I sit one evening in December after the bad news and try to reflect what it was with this album 40 years ago, and listen to it 2 times, and then I build up the sequence and the basic part, which lasted over 1 hour, yeah, really 1 hour, and then the things was, and now you have to play some solos over the sequences, and I don't want to copy that. I decided to make it with natural samples, so you hear voices, you hear a piano, you hear a cello, and such things, and
And also choir.
yeah, and yes, and Manuel was to put the electronic sound, which at that time was very new. And today, these sounds you have it as presets, and so I want to go. The next generation is a sampling, and that is the approach to make this our. Yes.
Very cool story, and I have a lot of sense what you are telling. This is not just a cover; it's a history, and that's yes, that makes a lot of sense, and this is beautiful. I think. Um, the history of music, it's about that also. It's about of how the people influences, but also how influences by life and by contact and by experiences, and then the the ideas go beyond one person and go and nest in another minds and souls, and the things continue, and that's amazing, and we need that always. And it happens also with electronic music and with these great giants that pass away, for example, last year. I
Mm.
mean, also Manuels or Klaus or Vangelis. They are great influence for every one of us, and there's a lot of music that it's in of about them that is in our gesture, and we can find it also with all the many great others that it's always like that. And it's something very beautiful about art, because it's the idea is beyond
Mm.
the person, and it's how we made our culture with this echoing of
Mm.
ideas and
Mm.
ideas and ideas. So this is very beautiful. Okay, Volker, this was great, and we have our time running out, and
Okay.
yeah. So thank you so much in the name of Cyclical Dreams. It's a
Ah,
pleasure. It's a
yes.
pleasure to have this interview with you, and a
Ah,
pleasure.
the pleasure is on my side.
So thank you.